Yesterday, the Bank of Canada cut the interest rate for the second consecutive time. It now sits at 4.5%. Joining us now is money expert Rubina Ahmed-Haq for more. Rubina, good morning. And what drove this latest drop in the interest rate? And could it have been even bigger?
Well, it could have been bigger. They decided to cut it by 25 basis points because usually the Bank of Canada, most central banks, are slow on the way down, more aggressive on the way up, because usually it's an emergency situation when they're hiking rates to get inflation under control. The reason that they did do the second cut in a row was because inflation, the latest data, came in under that 3%, so in that 2 to 3% range, and in fact beat economists' expectations. Most economists were expecting for the month of June 2.9%, and it came in at 2.7%. So that gives a lot of evidence that the economy can handle a rate cut right now. Unemployment is up, business activity is slowing. So all of that is good indications that a rate cut is warranted.
Now, Rubina, a recent debt survey says more than half of Canadians say interest rates need to significantly drop before their financial situation improves. So how much relief will yesterday's cut bring?
So it's 2 rate cuts in a row, so it's 50 basis points, but this is against 475 basis points that we saw the increase. So for those individuals who have debt that is affected by the floating rate, so if they have a prime rate mortgage, variable rate mortgage, or if they've taken money out of their line of credit, they are continuing to pay much bigger payments than they were even a couple of years ago. So yes, it would be a lot more economical for them if rates were to drop further. But the fact is that rates, yes, they haven't been here for 20 years, but they're still at a level that it's pretty manageable if you compare it to where rates have been 30, 40 years in the past. It's more that wages need to now catch up so that people can actually afford these payments. Rates coming down back to that 0.25% level, which were emergency cuts done at the time, probably is not going to happen.
And Rubina, let's talk housing as well. How will this latest rate cut by the Bank of Canada impact the real estate market?
So the first rate cut did absolutely nothing. In fact, home prices are down year over year for the month of June. Normally when rates go down, there is a little blip in the home prices. I think a lot of that has to do with is because home prices have come up so much in the last few years that even with this rate cut, people can't afford to pay more and more for those same houses. The real estate market has been quite slow for the first part of the year. This could put a little bit of momentum into the real estate market since it has been slowing down for the last few months, where people are able to afford to bid more, create some more activity. I think it'll be more that people will be more in the mood to buy, not necessarily buy for more, meaning with price, meaning willing to bid more for that same house.
Okay. Let's talk last week's worldwide outage. It's still having an impact. Can you explain where it is still being felt and why some industries are having a harder time recovering?
So the airline industry is suffering quite a bit. Delta Airlines, for example, issued an apology to their customers. They're offering them reimbursements for things like hotel stays and food with reason. They're also offering them loyalty points for those customers who follow their loyalty program. Really, airline industry, from what I understand, there's a bump-on effect. If there's a cancellation or if there's a delay, it delays the next flight getting out. It delays passengers getting from, if you can imagine, if you're flying from London Heathrow to Toronto and then to Vancouver, if you're delayed, then you don't get on the flight that you need to get on in Toronto, and then that creates a snowball effect. So because this was such a huge outage, it created so much chaos, and so it's taking the airline industry that much longer to catch up, specifically in this case, Delta.
Now, CrowdStrike, they were the company behind the outage, and they have, Rubina, released new details about this outage. Just how concerned should we be that we're only one click or mistake away from absolute chaos?
So from what I understand, it was an update that they took for their cloud security. And then there is a component of that cloud security that has a more rapid way of updating the information that is needed to make that update happen. And that's where the glitch took place. Now, I'm not a tech expert, so I'm probably not explaining it as best as someone could. But it is concerning because there's a huge financial impact on this. Like we just talked about Delta Airlines, they've got to compensate their passengers. They have to obviously pay overtime to their employees who probably are dealing with all the passengers that are in the airport and probably not very happy. So this is concerning. I mean, we live in a highly technical world and updates happen all the time. Every time I open my phone, it's asking me to update a different app. And so in order for for things to run smoothly. I mean, to think that no glitch is ever going to happen again feels impossible. I mean, we're going to go through something similar because eventually something is going to happen where something is going to disrupt an update or disrupt something going forward.
That's why we move ahead very cautiously every time we turn on the phone and use it and respond to emails. All right, Rubina, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, guys.